I'm going to be talking about CANVA, which is a free graphic design website that any affiliate can take advantage of. There's a free version. There's also the pro version, which is a paid package that's free for nonprofits that every affiliate that is a Model A should take advantage of. Model Bs, unfortunately, won't be able to. All right, I'm gonna share my screen just to show you guys a few things about it. Okay, so what makes CANVA really cool, this isn't actually the, sorry, let me switch out of this guy. And switch over to the other screen. Yeah. All right. So what makes CANVA really cool is that you can basically make anything look more professional. If you have to do anything that's for public distribution, that you want some images, you want it to look anything more than a Word document, this can help. So just to give you guys an example, and I know, Lee, you're pretty familiar with this, but just to kind of give everybody a chance, if we were to Google like volunteer recruitment flyers and just happen to look at some images, all right, Peggy's joining. Hi, Peggy, welcome.
So
we're excited to have you. So I'm recording, but I'm gonna keep going, but if you have questions, just flag me and we'll answer them. So this is just an example, of what you can make. Some of these were probably made in CANVA. If you just want it to look a little bit more of a pop with color, with background images, with impact blocks, you can do that. So I'm talking about the positive aspects of CANVA. It just makes anything you're putting out in public distribution look nicer. So let's just look at social media post examples. Let's go to this post.
So this is on the CANVA website?
No, I'm just doing a Google search.
Oh,
so,
okay.
You know, what CANVA really allows you to do is just really make any of your publications have a little bit more. And so you can make flyers like the volunteer appreciation or recruitment flyer. You can make a post for social media, which often has some sort of image and some sort of content. And you can see that, you know, people have had clip art. People have used a picture and just overlaid blocks with content. You can use real pictures, you can use fake pictures, but it's just to kind of help get your message across in an eye-catching way that people will want to look at, convey your message quicker, whatever it might be. And it's free. So what I kind of wanted to show you guys was, I probably have to switch what I share. But I've created this tutorial, which I'll put on our website. But it's just got a lot of opportunities to get involved, and it's super easy to sign up. Let's see. If you go to, here's how, whoops. I haven't done a great job at sharing my screen. Okay. So I'll show you how to sign up, Peggy. It's super easy, and unfortunately you would have to use the free version just because NAMI can only have one account. Can you guys see my screen okay? Just give me a thumbs up.
Skype
or is it paused?
For business. It says Skype for business. Is that what you're showing?
Okay, that's not what I wanted to share. Okay. Let's try this again. All right, here's what I want to just go. I'm just going to sign in on a web browser I don't normally use. And so if you just want to sign up, Peggy, it's super easy. You go to canva.com and you hit sign up. And if you want to sign up with an email, and I would strongly recommend affiliates sign up with whatever email address they're going to use long term, because it's just easier to reset it to that email address. If someone should come and go, as long as it's connected to NAMI Mid-Tidewater at whatever, somebody can get in there and mend it. All you need is your name, email address, and a password, and then you're ready to go. For Model A's, if you want to sign up for this free version, which just gives you a little bit more of an opportunity, what you would want to do, I guess I need to search for it, is you would just need to go to, there's a easy way to apply, and I've got it in a guide, but you would just fill out an application. And the thing that will benefit from that is you get to use their pro images, their pro graphics. They charge you for it. There's ways around it, and I'll explain that. But it does give you a lot more of the sophisticated features. So we'll work around that. Okay, so this is what Canva looks like when you get into it. Let's go to, home. So when you sign in, this is what it looks like. And it's got all these little features over here of what you can do. And over here is where you could create designs. And the real key is that, I'm sure you've done this, Peggy, when you add a picture to something and the pixels are not strong enough and so it gets blurry. Or maybe it's too big for the size placement you're trying to put it and half the picture's gone. And so the first step that's really great about Canva is that you can decide how big you want your image to be so that it's perfectly sized for what you need. And so it's got some suggestions here. If you want to do a Facebook post, that you'll see it shows what the pixel parameters are here. If you want to make a logo, say you're trying to do something for a local awareness event, and so you're making a logo or your own flyer, you can just click on these easily. You can also create your own dimensions. So the first thing I would recommend most affiliates do when they get into their account, and this is when you have the pro version, is you'll have the option for a brand kit. And Peggy, you unfortunately won't have a brand kit. You'll just have to kind of keep track of your items, and I'll explain this a little bit later. So you can click on brand kit, and you can do your logos. And obviously, we haven't kept this very organized, but you can add all your logos. If you scroll all the way down, you can add brand colors, so that it's easy to make an Instagram post or a Facebook post with the NAMI Walks color or the NAMI branded colors. And so we've already added those. If we had a Mental Health Awareness Month campaign green colors, we could add those and people would just keep using them for the consistency of it. And so I think you guys know this, but if you go to NAMI Identity, or if you go to www.nami.org/identity, you can get to this web page, which is NAMI's identity guide. And so you'll be able to get the official logos. You can get the state and affiliate logos, the program logos, although they're a little behind because Friends and Family is not on there, and other activities. They also give you tips on fonts and typeface and other tips for editorial style and the NAMI voice. So this is a really great website to look at. And it'll also give you the official NAMI colors, which you can add. And so I think, yeah, so here's what the official colors look like. And so when you're adding the brand color, you just want to grab the hex code right here. You see it on the right, go to your brand kit and just hit the plus button. And then right here where they want the code, just paste it. And so it'll add it. Now we'd already added that one, it's right there, so I'm going to hover over this little corner and it'll bring up an X and I'll just take it out of there. Peggy, you won't be able to do this, but I'll circle back to how you will add your colors when you're developing your templates. You can also add your brand fonts, and so just as a heads up to everybody, NAMI recommended fonts are Roboto Slab and Sans something. Don't remember exactly. They like, so here you'll see Franklin Gothic is a top one, Roboto Slab is the free version, and Open Sans. Both of those are in Canva. Franklin Gothic is not. Now, of course, that's really just NAMI's preference. If you guys are doing something a little not NAMI, if you're not advertising a family to family, if you're just talking about your monthly meeting, you're welcome to use any fonts you want. Okay. So we'll go back to this brand kit, and if we wanted to add another palette, we could do that. And I'll show you what this looks like if we go home. So that was the brand kit. There's a whole lot of stuff here that I'm not really going to go into because I think it's really for maybe an advanced conversation. But let's see, down here you'll see there's folders, and this is one other thing you won't get to use, Peggy. For the pro version that affiliates can get for free, you can create folders which just allow you to group your different images. What you'll have, Peggy, is if you just scroll down to your designs, you'll just see a library of them. And so you'll just have to search for the image you're looking for. If we wanted to see all our designs, I could click on all your designs and it brings me to what everybody in our office is working on, all the things. And it's, you know, as soon as you click on it, it comes right back up to the top. So whatever we haven't touched in a while would be at the bottom. Okay, so what I wanted to show you guys, let's see, is some templates. So, you know, Canva tries to make it easy for you. If you're trying to think, how do I make a monthly meeting announcement? It can be kind of hard to just figure out how you want to do that besides slapping your logo on there and putting some font. But they give you just some suggestions around, like maybe adding a couple pieces of clip art, maybe add a background image, you know, maybe use an underline. So there's some helpful like examples. And so sometimes if I'm not inspired to know what I want to do, I might come to the templates and just sort of look around and see if something gives me insight of like, oh, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just get a generic picture and kind of slap my information over it, or maybe I'll do a picture and slap a little block underneath it, whatever it might be. So we're going to create a design now. And all you got to do is click create design, and you can make custom dimensions. And so, for example, Peggy, this might be helpful for you and others out there, but we were doing Google Forms the other night, and to add your logo to the Google form as the theme, so it comes up at the top perfectly, it doesn't size appropriately. It goes off the form. And so I just did a quick Google search for the dimensions for a Google form and resized our logo to fit by just putting in those custom dimensions right here. So again, I'll kind of show you guys one more time, but I hit create design. If I want to customize the dimensions, I just click that and it would open it up. But for today, I'm just going to do a Facebook post. So it'll pop you up on a screen where you can see this is the dimensions of a classic Facebook post. And this is your toolbar over here on the left side. You can see what was recently used, what we kind of built off of. They've got suggestions for things that might be just pre-populating templates, especially if you're talking about coronavirus, they're all over the place. For me, the trick is that I don't want to use this template exactly because somebody else has probably done this too. You know, a lot of people have Canva and you don't want yours to look just like theirs. There are ways to maybe mix it up. You might like, and it gives you a color palette of the colors they've used. And so you could change these. You know, you could change them all. If you don't like what you did, you just hit this arrow up here and do undo. Or you could, you know, do some other things. You might delete this image out of there and add something else. So the templates are great. And I'm just going to get out of here. But the templates are really nice just because you can kind of get an idea here as well of what might be out there. And if you're looking for something specific, you can search for it. I'd be really vague because if you're too much, like, I don't know, like a spotlight, if you wanted to highlight a feature, you might look for that. And maybe this would be a good, you know, example, because if you got rid of this, it really does look like something where you could, you know, kind of say like, congratulations, you know, Lee was our winner of the raffle, whatever it might be, or shout out to Lee, our volunteer of the month. So that's one other thing you can do. So you can choose to start with a template if it kind of offers you insight, like, you know, and this one is, and one thing you're going to want to keep an eye on, Peggy, is if you hover over it, it'll tell you if it's free with the basic. If you hover over and it says it's not, it means it probably has an image or a graphic in it that they want to charge you for. And it's pretty nominal. It's like $1. and it's just $1 for the download, and once you have it, you can keep it forever. But if there's a fee, it's usually related to the image or the graphic, so you can just delete that out of here. So say this had a cost, and it's probably would have been because of this picture. You could delete it and in uploads, maybe add your own picture, if that makes sense. So that if you went to download it, it would be free. And say you really loved that image that was there. You're just like, darn, I really wish we could have a picture of like a family close-up. Then, you know, I would just search online, and the best way to do it is free family images. And you always want to do family stock photos is probably the better way to say it. Because some people trademark their materials, and so you might just look at images, find one you like, and just, you know, download it to your computer. And then you can upload it. And so this little tab down here is all your uploads. So you could upload an image, and we'll pick that download. And so now I could just delete this out of there, and I could add this in. And I double click twice, so it put it in there twice. And you can move it around just by clicking on it. If you like that it was, and once you're in here, all of a sudden this becomes sort of your toolbar up here. And so you can try the different things out. Effect is kind of cool. The most useful one is this background remover. So we'll see what it does. And this is kind of nice because especially if, like, you know, say, so remove the background in the image. And so if we wanted to put a background in here that, and this is one right here, this is background, the next one up. You know, maybe we just want to do kind of I don't know, something kind of basic. So now this is cut out, and it doesn't kind of have that blocky look to it. Maybe we'll stick this up here, and we'll move this down here. And if you liked that it was that black and white originally, go to filter or filter. And similar to kind of what you can do, you might pick grayscale. And so then it kind of doesn't take away from the picture. It's a little more monochrome. If you like that, you can also adjust, oops, sorry. My screen keeps moving. I wish I could. Well, whoops. I don't want to do that. Okay, so adjust. The Zoom stuff is killing me. Okay, so adjust. So say you want this to be darker just because, I don't know, you kind of like it, it's too light, who knows, you can adjust there, you can adjust contrast, whatever you need, tint, and you know, it'll do that. And you can also flip it if you wanted it to go the other way. Just, you know, something like that. You can also position it. Is this making sense, Peggy? Okay. And most all of them have positioning. And so this is basically, say we wanted to put, we'll try something else. So we added a photo, we added a background. Let's add an element. So let's add, so this is for the pro. You'll see it says pro right there, Peggy. This you would have to pay for. So we'll keep to free. But say you want to maybe make the background a little more jazz filled. I keep double clicking. Then you could do that, and it kind of layers on as you add them. So if you like this and you're like, oh, I think this just gives it a little something, then you can click and drag to move it around. But if you don't like that it's in front, if you hit position, you can make it go backwards so that it is now behind everything else. So if you click on, and say you like that and you don't, because honestly, every time you drag and drop things, sometimes it gets hectic, you know, so you really want to just try to freeze things. So as soon as you like something, hit this little lock button. You see it looks like a little lock, so then you can't touch it, which is so nice, because if we add a bunch of elements to this, it gets harder to drag them. And if you ever need to blow it up, this is very helpful. Sometimes you can make it bigger, so you can really get in there and make sure you've got it edged up perfectly, whatever it is. Make it a little bit smaller because it's hard to see real soon. Okay, what else about this toolbar? If you want to, what this can also do is it can, and so right now I have to pick what I'm working on, and the toolbar up here will adjust. If I'm on the photo, it'll adjust what I can do with the photo. If I'm on the text, it'll adjust what I can do with the text. But because I've locked it, there's really nothing to do except unlock it. If I'm working on the background, it'll adjust to what I can do with that. And so if I'm working on the background, this other button here allows you to make it transparent. So, you know, this may not be the best time for it, but sometimes this is really nice if you're trying to just layer an image in the background and you don't want it to really detract. So maybe if we were doing something like, I don't know, we'll do in a minute. Let's go to this and unclick it. If we were putting this in front of that, and of course I've got to position it forward, we might make this a little bit more faded so that it doesn't distract you from reading the font. So I'm going to undo this. But that kind of explains it. If there's anything you don't like, you just hit the trash can and you can get rid of it. If you decide you didn't like it, go to this little arrow and you can undo whatever you did. So what's nice about Elements is they've organized everything in here. And they've got recently used featured items. And so, of course, coronavirus is a popular one, so people want pictures of medical folks. They have grids. I don't use grids a ton, but they're sometimes helpful when you're trying to make a photo collage. I don't use them much at all, but for example, if you add, it kind of takes over the back. I don't like that. Let's find something else. Well, you can click see all to see all of them, so you can kind of scroll through them. So imagine if you're making some sort of collage, this might be helpful. Sometimes I've done this, and this probably isn't the best example for this guy. I'm just going to delete these. So if you don't like what you have, I got to unlock that. You can delete everything and start over. If I click on this right now, it'll kind of put it in the background. And so sometimes what's nice about this is you can maybe make this, oh, whoops. Ugh. So you can just add pictures and it'll pre-populate to the specific ones you're putting them in. So if you're sort of trying to make a graphic of, the walk is so amazing, come do NAMI walks with us, and I should find some other walk pictures to use. Just use that. And that. And of course, this didn't work, so if you double click it, you can kind of move it where you want it to be. And so we'll just say that, and of course, there's not much here, so you might add some text just to give it something, and so we'll make a header that says, you can pick the color up here. So let's make it white. Let's make it bigger. Oops, or smaller. And you can pick the type of font you want. So maybe we'll do this. And it, maybe we'll say, join us, I don't know, October 24th. And you might stick this up here, and now all of a sudden, this could just be like your post, is to kind of remind people to come. So that's how you use that element. I don't use it much again, so I'm just gonna, go back. If you ever want to just go back to all the elements, just come up to the search bar and click out of it, and it will take you back to the originals. You can add shapes, which I think are tremendously helpful. This is a very common one I use, and it's free. And what's nice about this is if you kind of want to do a text box, this is how you might do it. And so we'll position it backwards. All right. So that we can, like, you know, have that there.
What's the difference in backwards and to back?
So when I clicked backwards the first time, it put it in front of this one. And then when I clicked it the second time, it put it in front of this one.
Okay.
And if I clicked backwards again, it would have put it behind this pink confetti.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of nice. And so you can mess with this by making it bigger or smaller. You can change the color if we wanted it to match. But say we don't want it to match because it kind of looks like it's bleeding into the other one, then you could maybe use this font to kind of change it and make it a little bit lighter, just to kind of add a little background texture but not take away too much. Things like that. So shapes are great. I love shapes. If you want to see them all, you can look. These are great. These are good for like borders, if that makes sense. So say we wanted to reduce this in size just a little bit and center it, then we could make this a border, just to kind of add a little bit more, I don't know, emphasis, clean lines, whatever it might be. And you can see there's just lots of different ones. You might put this in there and you can rotate it. There's a little arrow to rotate. And you know, you might stick this here and say, you know, hurry, act now, like kind of, you know, pushing people's eye to where you want them to look, something like that. And then of course here are like, these are nice. If you rotate it, you might be able to put this here. And you know, maybe we get rid of this guy, get rid of this guy, and then we make this text box something that this guy is actually saying. That makes sense? It's like the dad is telling you, and I'm going to position it back so that it's behind this and it's behind the font. And so that's one other way to do it. And of course, because the text box there, maybe I'd move this over here, move this guy over here, I don't know. But you see how it can get a little cluttered, which is why it's nice to, if you really like something, lock it in place. So I'm going to click out of shapes and go back to where we were. So grids, shapes, frames are a lot like grids, except it's like how you might drop an image in. So maybe if we wanted to do this, then we could drop that in there. And now all of a sudden they've made our image a little bit more with like some funky lines. So sometimes that's nice. Say you have a guest speaker for your monthly meeting. You might pop this in there and then upload their picture. And like this was our summit, our summit keynote. So like, you know, you might drop this in there. And to drop it in there, you just drag it in. And so you may be like, come see our guest, you know, our number one speaker, blah, 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 blah. So that's always nice. All right, so stickers, move, I would say stay away from those. I don't mess with them. I don't think that's, you know, first time Canva users should be doing. There's charts if you really want to make a point, like, I don't know, something is improving, your impact in the community. Gradients are more like background. I haven't used them much, but you might use them as, I don't know, something to kind of, if you know, it just says, come see our guest speaker, and you're like, boy, this is kind of boring. maybe I'll, you know, use this to kind of give it a little angle and just sort of put that there. And if I like it, I might, this little button right here lets you duplicate it. And then maybe I'll like move another one down here, and then it's just sort of like some funky shapes in addition to, you know, like what we're telling them to do. Like those, but they're kind of nice. All right, so here are just some other interesting images because, you know, a lot of graphics are nice. These are kind of cool. You can add these lines. So let's make that a dark color so you can see it. So we can enlarge it by just dragging, and maybe we put it around her just to kind of make it pop. So you can see how it kind of helps, you know, to do this. And you can just play around with it. It's kind of nice. You can add, upload, and that's where a lot of our images are. So maybe I'm gonna like try and find our image that isn't. So if I use this, so here's one thing I did want to kind of explain. If I use this, which is the classic NAMI logo, it's got the white background, which doesn't look very nice on this. And so we have made some PNGs for us to use, and I just have to find them in here. I guess I could go to logos and find it. It's probably the, yeah. So I could add this and make it a little smaller. And then, you know, it's kind of tagged us. So if, and this is always good for social media because if anybody shares your post, then you're sort of branding yourself. You're putting your name out there, they'll see you. So this just looks a little bit nicer when all is said and done. I don't know that this is going to be a perfect, so let me get back to logos. So for example, if I wanted to add the grassroots symbol, what I would probably do for this is go to effect and maybe remove the background and see how well it does. Okay, it did great. That's awesome. So this may be how you can make your own PNGs. I don't know. Whoops. Okay, so that's nice. So now you can make your own PNGs. If it doesn't work, and for example, making this one was tough because like if you zoom in, the little A's, the little O's, the little E's were really hard for it to do. So there's another way you can make your logos transparent. Yeah. And if you need that, it's in the guide I made. See, so I've got too many things going on, which is why I should lock some things in place. Yes.
Sure. So Saturday, my granddaughter and I did a virtual anywhere walk 5K for the Y that my son works for in Wilmington, North Carolina. And see the logo over here that says NAMI Walks Champion? Mm-hmm. That was on our shirt, only it was their, you know, their walk. So they had made it from this somehow.
Very cool.
On the shirt, but that's, I'm pretty sure that's the same logo.
Yeah. And so, you know, maybe they did. I mean, there's a lot of ways in graphic art to kind of borrow other people's stuff, and some things, you know, are trademark protected. So just, you know, be mindful of that.
I mean, it's the same, you know, the same kind of shape, and I don't know, the shirt's in the other room, but it sure looks a lot like it.
Yeah. So if, you know, I guess I should, let's see, what questions do you have so far, Peggy? I'll show you guys how to work with text. If you click on the text bit, it gives you some combinations, which are kind of good if you have a very short message, which we rarely do. And you just have to remember when you're doing a flyer, of course, you have to put a lot of information. When you're making a social media post, the image accentuates the message you're putting on the Facebook. So you may say, you know, come to our annual meeting, and the post or image may just really just have the date, some eye-catching thing. So it doesn't need a whole lot of information. So if you kind of want, for example, you could use this one. So you could just, and I seem to be double clicking, group. So this, and I did it again. So this is something that's nice because it kind of makes it easy for you to just, to make something that looks kind of good. So say we don't want this text box. We're just saying like, come to our monthly meeting. You could just say like June meeting. And of course it wants to like make it bigger. So you might just have to do this to get it all in one line. And then you could put like the date and maybe move her down so that you can see her. Obviously this isn't going to be a good pick because it's not the best way to arrange, but do you see how it kind of saves you a minute? If you don't like the pre-arranged headers they have for you, then you can just add a header or a subheader or a little one. The only difference between these is what font size they start you out at. You click on this, it starts you out at 31.5, which is their suggestion for a header, and you can of course make it bigger or smaller. If you click on this, it makes it, oh, interesting. That would be a little bit different. So anyway, and just pick whichever one you want to start with, and you can kind of decide. But you'll see you can add bullets, you can make it centered, you can move it around. What's nice about this is if you had a couple lines, then this arrow element right there lets you move space between the letters. And this within the line spacing. Okay, so any questions so far?
So have you used this for making brochures? Can you do
I have not used this for making brochures. That's a little sophisticated. I will show you kind of some examples of like what we've done. Actually, I should move over to Google to show you that. So for example, here is a flyer we made for all the online programming we're doing, and we made this in Canva. We just picked the flyer 8x11 dimensions and added these elements and the graphic art and the content. Here is a post, and it's just a simple post with, you know, the date, the logo, a nice image, a nice border, and just, you know, what the walk is all about. Here is an email header that we made, and one thing that I kind of recommend for affiliates is that you, you know, create a flyer for something. Say you have, I don't know, a program like a peer-to-peer, and NAMI's got those flyers. They're not the greatest flyer, but they are editable, so it's better than nothing. But if you do bother to transfer it over into Canva, you can make a flyer and then from that resize it to do an email header, and this is great for communications like MailChimp. You can put that in there as sort of the eye-catching image, which kind of brands the event, shows them the date and the location. And then you can also make, this is like a social media post for it, which has a little bit more information, but it sort of has the same branded look. And I think I have to go back the other way. I wonder where the, so this is a postcard we made for affiliates, which you can make in Canva, and this is the front of it. I don't know why it's not back to back, but here's a NAMI Walks invitation postcard that we made. There's lots of different things you can do. Here's an infographic that we made on young adult substance abuse, so that it's kind of something kids might want to look at, might want to share. It probably still has too many words on it, to be honest, but we're trying. Here's an infographic that we made, and you can see it. It's not much different from a Word document, but there are a few little frills that sort of make it look a little different.
So that can be printed out though, right?
Yes, I'll show you how to do that in 1 minute. This is easel signs for our summit. So, you know, what's nice is you have to get a banner printed for a big event. You know, you can basically create that in Canva and send it to a printer, and they can take care of the rest. You just need to tell them what it'll look like, and the pixel and resolution will look really nice. And here's a NAMI Walks report we created. So it's kind of nice. It's sort of a wrap up, which we use with our funders. We use it with our sponsors. Sort of talked about, you know, how many people participated, how we did on our goal. It has some great images. It has information about the top fundraisers, a mission moment, our sponsors again, and of course it should tell them when NAMI Walks is happening in 2017, but oh, there you go. So it even has the date for 2017. This is another flyer for our parent retreat. So obviously it has the most amount of information on it. It usually has a registration link. And here's another example of a social media post for our advanced parent leadership training versus the email header, which just has the name, the image, and maybe some basic information, and a flyer, which has more information about how to register and sign up. Okay, so Peggy or Lee, what is something that you guys need to make or would want to make that we can sort of walk you through this?
We do need a new brochure, if that's too complicated. And I guess, you know, flyers for the next time we do an education program.
All right. Okay. Okay, let's do a flyer then, because a brochure, like especially a trifold, is hard. I haven't really found a way to do that. But for example, this was a billboard. Somebody said they'd put up a free billboard for us. So we just made it to the right dimensions. We Googled billboard and we made one. So let's do a flyer. Templates, whoops, I don't know the templates. Go back to create, and I'm gonna do flyer. And so what program do you need a flyer for? Because honestly, you have, for example, you have a family to family coming up, and you have the flyer from
now though. So, you know, we don't really need one right at the moment, but we would need one in the future, I guess.
Right.
So maybe we'll be doing peer-to-peer again soon. I don't know.
Okay. So we could find something that might work for you. Let's see what there is. Okay. I kind of like this guy, but we'll start. Oh, it's one of two. I don't want one of two. Yeah. Let's go back. So that's kind of, if it's a back and front, maybe we'll use this guy. Oh, okay, we'll just try it. So you've got this. It kind of gives you something. This is just an image. This is one of those elements, but it gives you an idea. So if we, oh, okay, oops, it was two elements. So a circle and one of these, but it looks nice. And, you know, if we wanted, we could choose to move this to NAMI colors. So I don't remember what NAMI family to family, but I think it's in the, whoops, that's not the color I want to use. I think, and you got to just find the right items. You can, I think it's the NAMI purple. Ah, now I'm got it now. Okay. Lock that so I can actually touch the background, and I'm going to make that purple. And I'm going to use the NAMI purple because I think that's the family to family color. And I wish I could find, yeah. So now I'm going to bring this back in and set it up where I think it was supposed to go. And you'll see they put lines on here to try to help you make sure that you're centered, which is great when you're trying to align stuff. So maybe we don't want this element. You can just delete the element, or you can delete the whole thing. And I don't really want that. But we may keep the rest minus that little element. Okay, so it may be spring. Of course, and you may put the date. We'll just do it like that. And of course, if you want to do this in the purple too, you could pick another color. We probably want to put the logo in there, so let's find the logo. There they are. Okay, so hopefully we have a family to family logo in here. Yep. Okay. So we'll stick this real big up here so people know what it is. You know, you would fill this in with the content you wanted, and if you don't like any of these elements, I find sometimes it's just easier to get rid of them so that you can just kind of start adding your own text. So we'll add this, and it's easier, especially when you're doing a flyer, to blow it up. So you can really kind of work on the area you want to work and move this. So you might drag this down a little bit, and you would put your information, date, time, register at, you know, and this might be kind of big right here, and you would probably want to line this left with the information. Oops. And have that, you might add another box that would be like what, you know, family to family is. And you have to kind of keep in mind that this is a flyer, so like 31 is very big. You might make it 18, or maybe like 20. And this should definitely be closer to like 16 or 14. And then, you know, you might put this there, and then you might explain what family to family is, and then you would make sure to put your affiliate logo in there. Of course, I don't have NAMI Mid-Tidewaters, so maybe I'll just put NAMI. Oh, that's NAMI Waters. Plop this down there. You might add some text that says sponsored and make that real small, because nobody really cares, but you're just kind of trying to. And so that could be your flyer. And if you wanted, you could add, let's add an element. We'll put one of these in there. We'll move it right here. That's a little big. I don't know if it'll work out. I'll make it a little bit. Maybe not. That one would have been the best. But you could find in your uploads maybe that picture of the family. Yeah. So obviously that's not perfectly centered, so you double click it and you might move it to just be like, you know, sorry Dad, you got nixed. And maybe we move this, you know, I don't know, we'd have to kind of wiggle things around just to kind of make it work. This might not be the best option, but it's usually good to have an image. You could always make it work. So this is, you know, sorry, this is so that it fits a little bit more to the side of the image as opposed to going over it, so that this could happen. You could also make it a little bit smaller just to make it work with what you have. Does that make sense? So that's how you would do it. And then to download it, you would just come up here and click the down arrow, and it'll suggest what you want. You can, you know, you're really not going to use any of these except for the PDF. Most flyers have to be a PDF. That's the only problem, is you can only edit them when you're in Canva. You can't download a Word version to amend. So say like we download this, and you'll see that it's working on it, and then it'll pop up in my downloads down here. And so what's kind of nice is I can look at it, and this is when I really get a good eye for it, and I might go, oh shoot, That picture is blurry. I'm gonna pick another one. I want one that's not gonna show up blurry or whatever it is. Or you might realize you spelled sponsored wrong because it doesn't spell check for you. So it's good to always kind of review it and make sure it works for you.
So you can save it, and then the next year you can just change dates.
Yeah, so let's come back here and I'll show you. So let's call it, family flyer. So we've named it. I'm going to come over here and hit File and Save. And then if I click out of here and I go back, I can, and I'm on my main page, I can go to all my designs. And it should show up. This is it. It's just so if you hit refresh, it'll pop up. Okay, well, but yes, you could come back. And the key here is to hit this little 3 dots. And I would make a copy of it. Because you might like your original, you'll make a copy of it and open it. And it'll say copy of family to family spring course. And you may say like, peer-to-peer course and just amend the colors and the logo or whatever it is. But it's always nice to keep your originals because then you can kind of see what you did and how you modified from it. All right. What else did I want to cover? Sign-ups, yep. Brand, creating, yep. Toolbar, yep. Organizing folders, making copies, okay. Yep. So for Pro, and Lee, maybe you know the answer to this, but there's a way to share templates in the Pro, correct?
So we actually don't utilize the Pro account either.
Oh, you totally should.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be my main takeaway is because there are just a lot of features that would be super useful for us. It's just they weren't using Canva before I came on. And so I actually just use like my personal free Canva account to create a lot of the stuff that we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we should probably sign up for that like free Pro account.
Good. I think that sounds great. So there's this share button, and there should be a way to get a link. And you can decide if they can edit or use as a template. And I would always say use as a template because otherwise they're editing your version. But what will happen if you use it as a template is it should show up under their template options. But I haven't really been able to practice with anybody. I have a free account myself, and the free account will not let you do that. So there is some potential to share templates with the Pro. So what other questions do you guys have?
Nothing. We're just have to play around with it,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can see the billboard. All we did was do some blocking around the date because we really wanted to emphasize that. Included the website, a logo, and just kept the colors and the theme. We're doing a mental health 101 and we just found some clip art that we put behind blocks and, explained what it was. So it doesn't have to be super fancy. It can be pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I use it all the time, Becky, and I do find that just like browsing the templates, finding something that you think would work with the type of information or, medium of information that you're looking at using, browse until something strikes, and then I just end up playing around. Sometimes I'll make something and then I'll just like leave it for a few minutes, come back to it, and it's rarely ever where I want it after its first iteration. I'm typically downloading like multiple ones, uploading them, looking at them and saying like, oh, this is crap. But obviously without wasting too much time.
Yeah, it can be easy to get sucked in. For me, I don't know that I'm as a perfectionist, but what I find is once I've downloaded it and really look at it at a large screen, I can see that, the alignment isn't perfect. I didn't quite get that line right. I usually have spelled a word wrong because I'm rushing and it won't always catch mistakes. But one thing I did want to show is that they've got, you know, create a design, and they've got everything here. So it's really easy to find whatever you're looking for. Or again, if you don't see it, just Google the pixels for that specific item. Like, I can't even imagine, but you know, if there's something out there you were particularly looking for, but like the Google form theme, you know, just Google that and then make your own. Oh, I guess I will show you this. So we'll go to all our designs, and we made this great family to family flyer, right? So if Peggy, if you're like, all right, I like it, I've worked on this, it's, you know, what we're going with. If you want to make a Facebook post, because you guys have a Facebook account, you would hit resize, and you would pick what you want. And so we'll say show more, because we want to do a Facebook post. So we'll click this. And it'll ask you to resize this, like you want to replace your original template, and you're going to want to say no, copy and resize. So now you've got a couple different ones. And so now you can see that it doesn't work perfectly, but it gets you about as close as you can, and you have all the same content for a social media post. So you might have to make this a little bit bigger. You know, you may have to kind of play around with how you do it. Oh, I didn't realize that one. Oh, that's because I locked it. Okay.
So that when you're saving it in Canva. So when you get on Facebook and you want to find it to post it, that's where you're going to look.
Well, what you would do here too, so say we've got this perfect, you know, it's exactly how we want it. So you might say, you name it as family to family, social media, or course Facebook post, you know, and that's how you name it. Then when you download it, it'll download it as a PNG, and we'll just say sure. And then you would just save it as an image to your desktop or to a folder. And of course, it's always good to look at it to be like, all right, did I make any mistakes? What do I need to do? But you can just hit file and save as, and save it to your computer and save it to a specific folder. And if you went back to your library, you would see that now you have, you know, family to family course flyer, family to family Facebook post. And so let's say like you're using MailChimp, or you just want to drop an image into your email you're sending out to people about the class because it gives them something to look at. You could hit resize again. And I don't really find like a perfect one for email, so I usually like make it up. And I hit copy and resize. So it's something kind of small that we can use, and it basically tries to do it for you. And so you would just want to rename and kind of make sure it worked. And of course, if it's a header, it only needs so much. So you might get rid of this because obviously it's in your email. You know, you're sending the email from NAMI Mid-Tidewater or NAMI Nova, so you don't need this. So you might really blow up the picture because that's what they want to see. And it's like, blow this up. And just, you know, maybe include like this information so that in the header they just see this, or they just see, I'm not doing a great job of explaining myself. But you would just be kind of focusing on some key things just to kind of grab their eye, because then they're going to read the rest of the email and all of this information is going to be in it. Does that make sense? Okay. And so I'll just hit save, file, save. And if we go back to our full account and we hit refresh, you'll see that there's 3 new ones. And of course, for nonprofits, yeah, you'll see they're all there. You could make a folder and do family to family, or you could make a folder and just say programs, because that might be easy. So that's kind of helpful, I think, in getting sort of the 3 most critical items you might use. All right, Peggy, what makes you most nervous about moving forward with this?
The time. Having the time to get it all done. And right now, we really don't have anything that I can think of that we would be using this for, but it might occur to us, you know.
Yeah.
We have some, things up,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would just save it if you've got monthly meetings. It's helpful if you are, doing a yard sale for your NAMI Walks fundraiser. You could create that. If you are going to do a volunteer appreciation dinner, which I know you guys do, you could create a flyer or an invitation for that.
Yeah.
So just ways to kind of make information look nicer if you want.
Right. And right now, of course, we don't have anything on the horizon, but the peer resource centers, do a lot of different things. So, get-togethers when they can do that. So that might be something we can help them with too.
Well, I would just encourage you to give this a try sometime this week.
Okay.
And just come back with questions and just kind of try to make something, if you've got old flyers, pull the content from that, just cut and paste it into a text box and just sort of maybe add a clip art of, families or whatever it might be.
Okay.
Lee, do you have any questions? Anything?
No real questions at this moment. Yeah, no, I do have some takeaways, I think, from this that will be useful for me using it in the coming weeks or sort of thing. So it's been helpful.
Well, great. We'll probably do another tutorial, either beginner or advanced, depending on who joins. So if either of you are interested in that, we can do that. And of course, Peggy, feel free to just come back next time and we'll see how you're progressing.
Okay. And you said you got the tutorial is on the website, or it's going to be?
I'm going to send it out an email. I've got to revamp our website, so I haven't quite put it up there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll send that out soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining, and I hope you both have a great evening.
All right. Well, see you later. Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Usual Wednesdays. Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.